Sabhaku Namaskaram. On behalf of Visakha Smaskrutika Sabhaa Samakya and NSTL Societal Project Forum Ahamahamika, I welcome you all for this evening talk by Dr. Prasanna Kumar garu. At the outset, I need to request you all, because the entire program will be video recorded, I request you to switch off or keep your mobiles in vibration mode. Most of you must have experienced when you have attended a function in which Dr. Prasanna Kumar garu must have spoken. Then you naturally, the one feeling that comes to our mind is invariably that why he has stopped at this, why not he have more time to speak, even at the cost of other speakers sometimes. So that is the general feeling. Whereas when that is the feeling of the audience, the people who share the dais with him quite often feel that why the English phrase, speech is silver and silence is gold, should not have one more word before that, when speech is silver, silence is gold, so that they can remain silent and they can find solace in that. This is their natural feeling. It's my observation, personal observation, and also many speakers do not hesitate to voice these feelings of theirs. So such a person, such a orator living with us, and the thought has come that why we should not archive all his talks. So the question was, then who were the beneficiaries? So every good deed need not find with the beneficiary. It should act, it can start its completion, and naturally the needy will come in search of it. And no doubt the colleges, the universities, the various institutes which will be involving in public speaking will get immensely benefited, plus all his well-wishers, for them it would be a treasure. So with this idea, when we approached him, with his characteristic modesty, he said, no, why all these things? Not necessary. But with some sort of perseverance, when we constantly were after him, so at last the teacher in him has made him agree for this. I am really grateful to you, sir, for your kind acceptance of this. Because for any professor, a talking may be a naturally attained habit, but that is generally limited to a specific domain over the years. By repeated lecturing in that topic or in the area, they master that art. But for Dr. Prasanna Kumar, it is both a scientific art and an artistic science of giving an oration on any subject. And the words will flow just like the creamy, these things, and the anecdotes will come to his mind very, very appropriately and aptly, and the quotations he gets for the context are absolutely and immensely very effective. So such eloquent and lucid and musical speech is at this high time, we should preserve it. And with this intention, so when we approached Dr. Vijay Kumar, who is the man who has not got in his dictionary no, and that too for such a great deed, he has readily agreed. It's a very good thing we should do. So only we were waiting for 1.5 years for sir not, and today is that privileged day. So we are all very happy about it. So in this context, though all of you know, so who is Dr. Prasanna Kumar, but many of you and for the viewers of this, they need to know what is Dr. Prasanna Kumar also. So a brief, this will not present him in his completeness, but still I'll try to introduce this great person. So Dr. Prasanna Kumar, presently he is the director for the Center for Policy Studies and in Human Service for the Society. By running this very patiently, very recently, we have celebrated the 25 years of that the Center for Policy Studies. And he is also the regional director of the National Maritime Foundation, Visakha chapter. This concerns with the security and exploitation aspects of the coastal line. And as regional director, he is conducting number of seminars and making all the views converged on this and doing human service. And looking into his past accomplishments, he was rector Andhra University in 95 and is the member UGC panel on political science during 93 and 2000. He was member Board of Management Andhra University 94-95, professor of politics from 1980 to 1995. Those students are definitely blessed people. Chairman Board of Studies 84-87 and 92-95. And he has joined the university faculty in 1960. Earlier to that, he started his career as lecturer in Avian College between 57 and 60. And he was president Andhra University Union in 1956 and 57 and vice president National Union of Students of India. Today you cannot imagine that. And he was. And university debater, naturally we can guess, and member of the Andhra University College's cricket side that won the Trimurti Cup in 1995. In him, a great sportsman, a novelist, a orator, and besides all, a great personality are there. And his research experience is amazing, where he has guided 25 scholars for PhD very successfully. My feeling is, I don't know, it is very difficult in the arts subjects to guide so many PhD students. And 15 MPhil scholars have taken guidance under him. And is the founder of Editor Research Notes, Andhra University Research Bulletin, founder Editor Bulletin of the Center for Policy Studies. It's very regularly coming. And the books published by him are total 11, including a biography of Congress historian and Congress B. Pattabi Sitaramaya and P.V. Narasimha Rao, Years of Power, and 2 textbooks on politics and government of Andhra Pradesh, and on the international relations, and several articles in journals and newspapers, and articles on Jawaharlal Nehru, architect of Indian democracy, India's foreign policy from Nehru to Rajiv Gandhi. He has visited USA during 69 and 70 as Fulbright Fellow, and again the Georgia Atlantic University as visiting professor during the summer of 1994. He delivered endowments lectures at Utkal University, Bhubaneswar, Madras University, Chennai, and many other places. He is member of Sri Satya Sai Institute of Higher Learning, Academic Council member, Prashant Nilayam, since 2000. He is member of Board of Studies of Sri Chandrasekharendra Viswa Mahavidyalaya, Kanchipuram, and is governing body of Avian College and many other institutions in Vizag, like Bharati Vidya Kendra, Vidya Bhavan Kendra, Vizag chapter, and Public Library Society. He is one of the pioneers in giving shape to today's public library at Vizag, proud asset of Visakhapatnam. He is member of Vizag former former member LIC Journal Advisory Board. As a sports broadcaster and commentator, he is a regular commentator. He was on AR tennis and cricket broadcaster since 1964 with over 15 Davis Cup and Challenger tennis tournaments and several national and international cricket and badminton matches. So he has authored books also on cricket and tennis with foreword by Ramanathan Krishnan and Gundappa Viswanath, people like them. And he is a regular columnist for Indian Express for 20 years and is now writing weekly column for Deccan Chronicle. I am very proud to present to you such a personality. Today he is going to talk on freedom struggle. And before inviting sir to the podium, I request Sri TVS Rao Garu, President Prajaspandana, to offer him a bouquet.
Esteemed friend and well-wisher, Sri Rangarajan, Dr. Vijay Kumar, both of them heading Smaskrutika Sabhaa, Samakya and Ahamahamika NSTL, who are responsible for this program being organized, and very distinguished friends, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, it is an honor to me to have been invited to present a series of lectures at the suggestion mainly and mostly of Sri Rangarajan. And once the idea is concretized, Dr. Vijay Kumar goes all out. He is responsible for the execution part of it. So my first duty is to thank both of them. Yes, as he rightly said, I hesitated for almost a year because I had some reservations about myself being able to do justice to this concept of lectures being recorded, preserved and disseminated for the benefit of especially the younger generation. But the reason why I accepted is, in utmost humility, as a teacher, I always say teacher and doctor, they have responsibility towards society. When somebody goes to a teacher and says, you must speak, you must lecture, the teacher has to do his homework, prepare and do it. Similarly, when the doctor is sought out by the patient, please treat me, the doctor should not say, I am very busy, you go to so and so, etc. That is why the healer and the molder, the doctor and the teacher are the most important persons in a society. It's a responsibility. There is another compelling reason why I was really bowled over by Mr. Rangarajan's very affectionate persuasion for more than a year. Kindly show that slide, please. This is a picture, 1965, April 15th, Vijayawada. The first person sitting in the first row is Mr. Narayan Swamy, DIG of police. There was only one DIG at the time, no commissioner. DIG was head of police from Srikakulam to Nellore, Mr. Narayan Swamy. Next to him is yours truly, that's myself, doing a running commentary on India, Vietnam, Davis Cup match, Vijayawada, 1965, April 15th. To my right is the late Sri P. Srinivasan, father of Rangarajan. To my left is Madam Subhadra Garu, to whom I owe my debut as a commentator, mother of Sri Rangarajan. I am very glad that their grandchildren also are here in this gathering today. So it is an expression of my gratitude to Subhadra Garu and Srinivasan Garu. And that was my first Davis Cup commentary in 1965. And the last Davis Cup commentary was in 1995 at Jaipur. I owed everything to both of them for their inspiration, for their affection. Subhadra Garu, Rangarajan's mother, was an extraordinarily dynamic lady. As a program executive, there is one other photograph which I also have in my album. Mr. Narayan Samy was the DIG of police. Because he was also doing the commentary, Mr. Saranyan was the Assistant Superintendent Police, Vijayawada. There was a posse of policemen. All policemen were there. The most important man was doing the commentary. And Subhadra Garu was such a dynamic and capable program executive. She once cautioned Narayan Swamy, radio commentary is a very interesting thing, very difficult thing. The program executive and engineer, they are not seen, but they monitor from behind. So she literally went up to Narayan Swamy and said, please raise your voice, put your microphone close to the mouth. And all the policemen were upset that their boss was being pulled up by a lady executive of All India Radio. That was Subhadra Garu. I saw her in 1964 first time. She came all the way to Vizag to record my voice, to introduce me to All India Radio. She got the clearance. In 1964, Eastern Naval Command was not there. INS Sarkars was there. INS Sarkars, a radio, Indian Navy wanted me to produce a feature, half-an-hour feature to be broadcast. Those days, television was not there. Half-an-hour feature on INS Sarkars was done by me, and Subhadra Garu and Srinivasan Garu came. They supervised the entire recording. Please remember, at that time it was broadcast by All India Radio, Delhi, by all channels at 9:30. And if it was a successful program, the entire credit went to both of them, Subhadra Garu and Srinivasan Garu. At that point of time, Sri Srinivasan told me how it is essential for a radio broadcaster or a feature producer to ensure that the audience, the listeners, did not get fatigued, tired, change your voice. First time I heard, one voice could be monotonous, please change the voice. So for any of the features that they organized and I was involved in, they always suggested a lady voice, another male voice, and they had wonderful, what you call, ability to organize, produce programs. So by thanking Sri Rangarajan, I am expressing my gratitude for an event that took place 46 years ago at Vijayawada. To both of them, I owe my gratitude. Today, if I accepted this program in all humility, it is out of immense affection to Sri Rangarajan and profound gratitude to his parents that I do this with utmost humility. Thank you very much. That's my indebtedness. I must say it in public because an occasion is given to me. And what is the relationship between Mr. Rangarajan? I don't know whether Mr. Rangarajan was 10 years old or 8 years old at the time. He was a boy, he was a kid. And this was the privilege. So to both of them, I owe whatever I did as a commentator, touring all over the country. It was their kindness and generosity. Thank you, please. Next, I must convey my thanks to Dr. Vijay Kumar. Because he is not here, I can share a few things, especially for the benefit of the 3 or 4 boys present here. Vijay Kumar is an extraordinary person. He is very generous. Everybody says he gives money left, right and center. Typical Andhra spirit. What the left hand gives, the right hand does not know. It is not giving money that makes a man really great or big. the manner of doing it. Probably Vijay Kumar's donations, compared to national donations like the Ambani's corporate social responsibility, may not be much. You can say, but Vijay Kumar has reached higher levels of excellence as a human being. I can very proudly say, though he is much younger than me, he is an icon to me. I have learned many things from him. The Gokul Chandra, Rahul Chandra Memorial Charitable Trust. Only 4 days ago, Vijay Kumar brought about 200 school boys, gave them prizes, and motivated them. In Vedanta it is said, a yogi is one person who sees others in himself. Vijay Kumar sees others not only in himself, but sees children of that age in his own children, motivates them, inspires them. Ladies and gentlemen, I must here digress and mention to you a very, very touching story, a poignant story, which is of enormous relevance to all of us, life and death. Vijay Kumar is a sthita prajna. He knows the meaning of life. He is not afraid of death. He is not fond of life. He is a karma yogi. We honored him in 2005 at a wonderful function because he was given a prize by the Income Tax Department as the most outstanding honest businessman. We honored him. 3 days later, his son was diagnosed with leukemia. Gokul Chandra and Rahul Chandra were twins. I loved those boys because I learned something from their approach to life. When my daughter had 2 boys, giving her a little hard time, she was preparing for the MD examination. She came to me and said, "Daddy, these 2 boys are not allowing me to read." I said, the best thing is, put both of the fellows in tennis. They will play tennis, come back home tired, and sleep off. They won't give you any problem. She did it, and both the fellows started playing tennis. I'm happy that both of them are here. One having represented IIT Chennai in University tennis, Inter IIT tennis. The other having represented VIT Vellore. Both the boys are here, grown-ups. Reluctantly, they have come here. I hope they won't leave the premises cursingly. So they were put into tennis. And when these 2 fellows were playing tennis, they were too young to be able to play on their own. Then one day, I heard my grandchildren saying, "Hey, we'll go and talk to Gokul and Rahul. They will help us to get a chance." They were not getting a chance. Gokul and Rahul were seniors, those 2 boys, Vijay Kumar's sons. So Vijay Kumar's sons were their inspiration. Coming back to this tragedy, one was diagnosed with blood cancer. And Vijay Kumar flew him to Chennai, took him to all parts of the country, and the boy left the world. I had no courage to face Vijay Kumar and his wife at their house. I went there. But he remained very cool, very composed, bearing all the pain, grief with utmost dignity and fortitude. 6 months later, Rahul died in a car accident. So twins, wonderful boys, Gokul and Rahul, who gave him such a joy, such pleasure, they disappeared from life. Imagine the plight parents. Too hard to accept it, too terrible for tears. Then I recollected, I was writing for Indian Express then, I recollected a very important person's message to me given in 1966. You might have heard about Maruti Ashram in Visakha. It is in Akkaipalam. It is a house where Hanuman is the presiding deity. Hanuman is worshipped round the clock, Maruti Ashram. The founder of that ashram is not there, he is no more. He was one Tamilian gentleman by name Krishnamurti. He worked in Visakhapatnam port. One day he had a vision of Maruti. Converted, he was so poor, he did not have money to build a temple. Converted the house into a temple, and he and his wife started worshipping. And you know what happens? Any earnest worship according to our tradition, for instance, Sivanandamurti Garu, many people go to him. He is an incarnation of Shiva to his devotees. He does Abhishekam, tapas. And the energy that he receives from the Lord, invisible Lord, he transfers to the devotees. And the lucky ones are blessed. Most people go for less. That is the philosophy underlying what you call all these rituals, tapas, etc. Now this Maruti Krishnamurti Garu, Maruti Dasan he was called. Being a Tamilian, people said Maruti Dasan. Bhajans, beautiful. Personally, I must say, my wife's brother, Dr. Anand Baba, is no more. He was very ill. He was depressed. And so, my mother-in-law, she was a very dynamic lady. She was advised by one of our relatives to take Dr. Anand Baba to Maruti Ashram. He was taken there. And he found solace. Got over depression. Every one of us is a human being. We have spells of depression, illness and things like this. We got over that. So, that's how I came to know of Maruti Dasan. Then after some time, 66 coming back to this, the steel plant agitation, don't know what happened. Somebody said they had a son, wonderful son. The boy was only son. The boy was so handsome, full moon-like face, always smiling. He's a very handsome boy. One day I ventured to, Maruti Dasan was a huge face, golden complexion, a big smile. So one day I went and offered my pranams and said, "Sir, your son is," there is a portrait of Vivekananda in the house. "Sir, your son is like Vivekananda." And immediately he said, "Naina, Ananda undi, inka ma abbayiki Vivekan ravalannaru." That was the boy. Glowing radiance. Boy, very disciplined boy. During the steel plant agitation, what happened? We don't know. It was raining in October. Couldn't go there. One day we got the terrible news that the boy was hit with a stone in the agitation, developed a fever and died in 2 days. Just 2 days. It was a terrible thing. How to console the great man, great saint? We slowly ventured to go to his house, stood in front of the door. Believe me, the husband and the wife, just having lost their only son, they came smilingly towards us. Please come, sit down," he said. "What do you do? What words would I pick up to offer my grief, to console them?" Then he said, "We know why you have come. Let me tell you one thing. I requested the Lord for a few boons. All life is nothing but seeking and taking. Don't grieve over the death of my son. I made a request to God, a tapas in fact, that God should be with me all the time. My tapas is God should be with me." Hanuman is there. God manifests in different ways, both through action and through persons. And my son was a rishi in his Purvajanma, who, because of God's blessings, came to me. He was an angel, he was a rishi in the Purvajanma. Because I prayed to the Lord incessantly for happiness and for His grace all the time, He gave me a son. He was an angel, he was a rishi. And please remember, Anandam, Saukhyam, Santosham, wealth, they will not be there forever, only for a short period of time. And so for 12 years, I and my wife had the good fortune of having that boy, seeing God in him, playing with him, enjoying the beauty of his presence. The time is over, 12 years of happiness, he has left. So I don't grieve over this, he said. I am grateful to God that he has given me such a son, and who lived with me for 12 years. I picked up all these pieces and wrote an article in the Indian Express, I think, or Deccan Chronicle, I don't know, saying that people should not grieve, while it is very hard to accept that youngsters should not die when elders are alive, they must also realize that those, as it is said in English language, those whom the gods love die young. And sometimes gods themselves, angels themselves come in human form, spend some time with us and leave the world giving us joy. So I wrote this article and said, when I was not able to accept the sudden demise of Rahul and Gokul, I was reminded of the great message that Krishnamurti Swamigal gave me in his Maruti Ashram, where his only son, beautiful son, having given them joy for 12 years, he left this world. I wrote this article and published it in Deccan Chronicle. Ladies and gentlemen, believe me, 3 days later, after the article was published, a phone call came from Hyderabad. It was a lady. She was the daughter of Satyanarayan Prasad Garu of Saraswati Talkies, Akhilandeswari. She was my student for some time. Then she called me on telephone and said, Master, your article gave me solace today, comfort today. Why? I was crying because our only son, 18-year-old boy, died in a truck accident last year. From then on, I was questioning God, why this punishment is given to me? Why such a beautiful boy disappeared from our midst, I and my husband? But your article gave me immense solace. That means my son also was a rishi. For 18 years, I was privileged to have him in my midst. And I was grateful to God